You are 9 years old, and your father is selling you, not to a merchant, not to a craftsman looking for an apprentice. He's selling you to a man who waits outside the village with a cart and a leather bag full of tools that you are too young to understand. Your father doesn't look at you when the coins change hands. Your mother already said goodbye this morning. She pressed her face into your hair and whispered something you couldn't hear through her sobbing. You have 3 younger brothers. There is not enough rice. You are the solution to a math problem that your family can no longer solve. This is 1430, Ming Dynasty China, and the imperial palace needs fresh boys. The cart takes you south for 11 days. You sit with 4 other boys. None of you speak. One of them is younger than you, maybe 6, maybe 7. He still has a milk tooth loose in the front of his mouth, and he keeps pushing it with his tongue, like it's the only thing he still controls. You will never see him again after what comes next. They call the man who performs the procedure the Daozijiang, the knife maker. He works out of a mud-walled hut outside the capital. There is no ceremony. There is no medicine. He sits you on a low chair. 2 assistants hold you steady, and he asks you 3 times if you consent. You're 9. You don't know what you're consenting to, but you say yes, because the alternative is being sent back to a family that already spent the money. What happens next takes less than 40 seconds. You will carry the memory of it for the rest of your life. Every sound, every smell, a sensation so overwhelming that your vision goes black at the edges and your mind leaves your body, floating somewhere above the ceiling. Watching a boy who used to be whole become something the empire considers useful. They seal the wound with hot oil, and then they carry you to a straw mat, where you will lie for 3 days without water. No water. They believe if you drink, the swelling will take you. So you lie there, lips cracking, throat burning, while your body tries to understand what has been taken from it. On the 3rd day, they check the wound. If your body still functions, you move forward. If it doesn't, well, you won't be the first boy who didn't leave this hut. You are one of the lucky ones. Your body holds. The knife maker smiles. He will keep what he removed, sealed in a jar, preserved in lime, and you will need to buy it back from him someday, because when your story ends, you must be buried whole. A eunuch who is buried incomplete, they say, will be reborn as a mule. So now you owe a debt for a piece of yourself that was taken without your real understanding. Welcome to your new life. You arrive at the Forbidden City on a winter morning, and it is the largest thing you have ever seen. Walls the color of dried blood. Rooftops like frozen waves of gold. 9,000 rooms, they tell you. You will learn to navigate them the way a rat learns a maze, by instinct, by repetition, by the consequences of going where you shouldn't. You are assigned to the Department of Laundry. This sounds mundane, and it is. You carry soiled linens. You scrub silk in ice-cold water until your knuckles split open every winter. You are the lowest creature in a hierarchy of 70,000 eunuchs. Yes, 70,000, who operate the most sophisticated palace bureaucracy on Earth. Above you are senior eunuchs who control access to the emperor's chambers, manage the treasury, oversee the kitchens, and command more real power than most governors. Below you there is nothing. You are 13 years old, and you smell like lye and old bathwater. The other boys in the laundry hall don't talk about what happened to them, not directly. But at night, in the long dormitory where 40 of you sleep on wooden platforms, you hear the crying. It comes from different beds each night. Sometimes it's the 6-year-old from Shandong who still hasn't healed properly. Sometimes it's the 12-year-old from Fujian who whispers his mother's name into his pillow like a prayer he knows won't be answered. You don't cry, not because you're brave, but because something behind your ribs has gone quiet, like a door that closed and you can't find the handle anymore. But you watch, you learn. You learn that in this palace, information is the only currency that matters. Who visited which concubine? Which minister lingered too long in the courtyard? Which cook added an extra dish to the empress's tray? You start collecting these fragments the way a bird collects string, not knowing yet what you're building, but sensing that it matters. By 16, you understand the unspoken rules. Never make eye contact with the emperor. Never turn your back on a concubine. Never, under any circumstances, form a visible friendship with another eunuch, because loyalty between servants makes the powerful nervous. You learn to walk silently, to appear in rooms as though you materialized from the walls, to make yourself so useful and so invisible that forgetting you exist becomes impossible. There is one rule nobody speaks aloud, but every eunuch learns it through bruises. You are not a person, you are furniture that breathes. When a concubine throws a porcelain cup at your head because her tea is too cold, you bow and fetch another cup. When a visiting general laughs at the way you walk, that slightly wider gait, the thing your body learned to do after the procedure, you laugh too, because the alternative is a punishment that no one will question. You are property of the throne. Property doesn't have dignity. Property doesn't suffer in ways that matter. Years pass. You're promoted, then promoted again. By 25, you serve in the inner court, the private quarters of the emperor himself. You dress him in the morning. You carry his tea. You stand motionless behind a screen for hours while he meets with advisors, absorbing every word of military strategy, taxation policy, and court intrigue that passes through the room. You know more state secrets than most generals, and everyone knows you know. That's what makes you dangerous. Here's the paradox no one tells you about. They cut you so you could never threaten the bloodline, so you could be trusted near the emperor's wives and daughters. They made you less than a man so you could serve without suspicion. But in doing so, they gave you something no intact man at court will ever have. Proximity, constant, intimate, unguarded proximity to the most powerful person alive. And proximity is power. At 28, something unexpected happens. A junior maid in the Empress's quarters looks at you, not through you, not past you, at you. She asks your name, not your title, not your rank, your name, the one your mother gave you before the cart, before the knife maker, before all of it. You haven't said it out loud in 19 years. It takes you a moment to remember the shape of it in your mouth. She smiles when you say it. And for 3 seconds, you are not a eunuch. You are not palace furniture. You are the boy from the village who once climbed trees and caught frogs in the river and had a name that someone wanted to know. That night, alone on your sleeping platform, you feel something crack open in your chest, something warm and terrible, and you realize this is more dangerous than any court intrigue. Because wanting to be seen is a luxury that can get you removed from everything you've built. You never speak to her again. She is reassigned to the northern wing a week later. You don't ask why. You already know. You're 32 when you make your first real enemy. A minister named Zhou accuses you of overstepping, of whispering policy suggestions into the emperor's ear during his morning routine. He's right, you have been. The emperor listened. Zhou's proposal was quietly shelved. Now Zhou wants you reassigned to the imperial stables, which is a polite way of saying he wants you erased. You have 72 hours to act. You go to the empress. You have been collecting her secrets for years, not as blackmail, but as insurance. You tell her gently that Minister Zhou has been meeting privately with a concubine from the Western Wing. This is true. It is also, on its own, meaningless. But in the grammar of palace paranoia, it is a career-ending sentence. Zhou is transferred to a provincial post within the month. He will never return to the capital. You feel nothing. Not triumph, not guilt. You feel the dull efficiency of survival. This is what the palace has made you. A creature of pure calculation, stripped of the biological urges that cloud other men's judgment, left with nothing but pattern recognition and patience. Sometimes at night, alone in your quarters, you wonder if they took more than flesh from you that day on the knife maker's chair. You wonder if the thing that makes a person feel alive went into that jar too. You're 50 now. Your joints ache. Younger eunuchs bow when you pass, some from respect, most from fear. You've outlasted 3 ministers, 2 empresses, and 1 emperor. The new emperor is 14 and terrified of his own court. He trusts you because you knew his father. He doesn't realize that trusting a senior eunuch is like trusting a river. It will carry you, but it chooses the direction. But the body keeps its own calendar. The lack of hormones has thinned your bones. Your voice, never deep, has become papery. You tire easily. You've grown soft around the middle in a way that the court physicians politely ignore. Some nights, the phantom ache returns. A sensation in a place that no longer exists, like a ghost haunting an empty house. One afternoon, a new boy arrives at the palace. He's small, thin wrists, eyes too big for his face. He can't be older than 8. He stands in the outer courtyard, clutching a cloth bundle that probably holds everything he owns, and he stares at the crimson walls the same way you did 41 years ago, with a terror so pure it almost looks like wonder. A senior attendant shoves him forward. The boy stumbles, and something in your chest moves, that same cracked open thing from years ago, and you think, I should say something. I should tell him what's coming. But you don't. Because what would you say? That it gets easier? It doesn't. That the ache fades? It doesn't. That one day he'll trade his humanity for influence and call it a life? You turn away. You walk back to your quarters. And that night, for the first time in 30 years, you hear your mother's voice in a dream, and she's saying that word you couldn't hear through her sobbing. And you realize it was sorry. You begin to think about the jar. You send a junior eunuch back to the capital's outskirts, to the knife maker's family. The old man is long gone, to retrieve what was taken from you 41 years ago. It costs you a small fortune. The jar arrives wrapped in red cloth. You don't open it, you just hold it, and for the first time in decades, you feel something that might be grief, or might be relief, or might be the simple animal recognition of something that once belonged to you coming home. Your final winter comes at 57. Your body, worn thin by decades without the fuel it was meant to carry, simply decides it has done enough. There is no grand farewell, no ceremony. You lie in your quarters, watching the snow fall through a lattice window, and you think not of the emperor, not of the power, not of Minister Zhou, but of your mother's hands in your hair on that last morning. They lay you to rest outside the city walls. Eunuchs relics are not permitted in the imperial cemetery, but you are buried whole. The jar is placed beside you. Whatever comes next, you will arrive complete. No one at court mentions your name by spring.